Hi everybody, welcome to another Q&A on Game of Thrones. Hi Tamar. So let's kick things off with MN. Hi MN. He says the guy on the left needs to shut the fuck up and the guy on the right needs to learn how to speak English. So thank you for the constructive criticism, Mr. N.
Mr. N, you us teaching very much a lot when criticizing like this us. So keep your constructive comments to please yourself us.
Yourself. Okay, let's go to something a little bit more positive. Then Jesse Taylor says, hey guys, great video. Thank you, Jesse. We appreciate that.
Thanks a lot.
And he was talking about the Littlefinger video, this video, and he says, who in this world knows about Littlefinger's, I don't know, Machiavellian plans and the scheming and everything?
Sansa knows about them, and I think only Sansa knows. Like there is a grand strategy by Littlefinger. Tyrion suspects that is very dangerous, but and Varys also knows that.
Right.
But
and the others are clueless.
Others are clueless, yeah. The other thinks he's like a harmless peasant boy,
right?
That eager to serve the
bureaucrat
nobles.
or whatever. Yeah,
yeah, and he's very eager to serve and eager to please.
Right. Knows his place.
Yeah, I think only Sansa knows that he has like a grand strategy, very far-fetched, like very ambitional strategy.
Right, and Jesse says that he thinks that Littlefinger's weakness is that he's not strong physically, and that could be his undoing, and I think that makes sense that Sansa might kill him and will be able to kill him because he's not strong physically.
You think she will strangle him?
Maybe just stab him in the back. Okay, Steak Sandwich from Twitter. How close is the role of women portrayed in the books to that of the period?
Women back then didn't have had obviously political rights like they have today. It wasn't like totally subjugation like Saudi Arabia, but in terms of his statement that women, even though they didn't have any rights, I had a great professor for history.
Okay.
Who taught us about the Stalin era.
Okay.
And he told us at the beginning, this is the text, read the text, this is like the historical narrative, but my goal here is to teach you this subject, that if you will come back to the 30s, to the terror period in the Stalin, you will survive. What he was trying to say, that even though the outside game don't give you rights, you can still know how the game works and survive and be like, take your place inside. So in a way, women back then, there were powerful women, of course.
Even later with King Elizabeth, even when she was queen. What did I say?
King Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth, even though she was queen, it didn't change the legal standing of other women.
No, but of course, women...
As a class.
As a class, no. As a class. Most people didn't have rights back then.
No, but women even less.
Yeah, women even less, but still, you had powerful women who like women who like wanted to hold the power. So they used their skills in the game in order to achieve it.
Right.
And it's not a fantasy. There were a lot of powerful women back then. Women back then who did what they could do in order to achieve greatness.
Actually, I've seen a few George R.R. Martin interviews where he's asked, often actually, how come he can write such complex and believable female characters.
It's because he's a pussy.
No, because they are people.
Ah.
Itamar.
That's right. That could be also.
Okay. Meme games. He's asking, I don't know if he's asking you or me, but he asks, are you a fucking idiot? Yes. So it could be either of us?
No, if he's talking about you, then yes.
Okay, so okay, let's go to Dworkin Jones. He commented on the Most Dangerous Ideas video. He says that he thinks the most dangerous idea in the real world is the concept of open dialogue with your enemies to solve problems in the present. I think this is he hit the nail on the head, as they say. This is a very dangerous concept to people who have a vested interest in keeping people separate and keeping people conflicts alive, because a lot of politicians, their whole careers are based on people considering themselves as the other.
Yeah, divide and conquer, like they say.
Like they say. Okay, so Julian Nerdhoff. Excuse me, Julian Niederhoff. Sorry, Julian. He asked, what do we think is the most dangerous idea in place today? He says he thinks about automatization and transhumanism. Automatization as in making all of us obsolete and, I don't know, making like 100 million jobs disappear overnight and we'll have to change the social contract.
Yeah. I don't think that's an idea per se, more of like a normal process that started, 10,000 years ago when we started to live in agricultural societies.
I vehemently disagree. I don't think it's a natural process. It's a process of the last 200 years, because the progress has been so slow.
I think it was
years.
Unavoidable what we are here now.
Progress doesn't have to be an ideology. It has become an ideology only in recent times. So what about transhumanism?
Transhumanism is very dangerous, even though
what is
I
transhumanism?
subscribe to it.
I don't. What is transhumanism?
Transhumanism, it's like the idea that the Homo sapiens basically are living in one of their last generations.
That evolution will take us to become part human, part machine.
Yeah, not necessarily the natural evolution, like the natural selection.
Of course.
But artificial selection, and transhumanism will be like more of like a cyborg.
Which goes to my point about automatization. Actually, after we made this video and talking about it, we decided that we want to do a whole series that's called History Now, that's going to identify certain processes that we think will impact the future greatly, and we're not sure that they're getting the attention they deserve because they will change human society in one way or another, for example, transhumanism or Bitcoin or whatever. So or stay tuned.
Cats playing piano on YouTube.
I think this is an incredible trend.
It doesn't get much attention now.
That doesn't get... You need to watch more cat video, people, come on.
Not like we are going to imagine like a future science fiction society, but things that are now in existence, that happening now, that exists now.
And people know about them.
And people know about them, yeah.
They just maybe haven't thought that this is very crucial.
We will try to put them in like an historical...
future historical.
Yeah, trend, like a railway,
We think it will be very cool, so stay tuned. So another question from Twitter, Bartube. She has a YouTube channel called Bartube about Game of Thrones. You can check it out. We'll put a link in the description.
Check it out.
She asks if you see any similarities between Sati and Daenerys. Explain first of all, Sati.
Sati is a ritual when the husband dies, when the man of the family dies. And according to Indian tradition, they burn the bodies, and it's like a big pile of woods, and then they burn them. And the Sati ritual is that the wife joins her husband,
burns with him.
And burns with him, yeah.
So that's
very similar to Daenerys, and usually, not always, there are 3 dragons that appears after that. But it hasn't happened like 100 years ago. 100 years, it hasn't happened for 100 years.
The Chinese did the same thing, but without burning, just killing the women. I think maybe they were just looking for excuses to kill women. Like men found it so scary that a woman that was the property of a man could then just move on and be with another man. That's very scary. I don't know what happens after they die. They want her life to end.
Yeah, what they will do, they will need to take care of her, and
Right.
she can't probably hold property of her own. So it's like
Yeah,
a good way to,
yeah. And what happens to the kids? Okay, now we have a lot of questions that are similar. Ultimo nome. Hi, Ultimo, friend of the show. So, is Mr. Bear the real Zoa High? And Lord Dragon wants to know what is Mr. Bear's bold prediction. Ukupacha Pakachung asks Mr. Bear. And finally, Thomas B. Anderson asks, he wants to know where the fuck is Mr. Bear?
Who's Mr. Bear?
So, what about it, Mr. Bear? So we have a question, a comment from John Morgan Olsen from Sweden. So it's actually Johan Morgan Olsen. Hi. And he likes your comment about Carl 12,
Carl 12.
who was the inspiration for Rob, right? The young wolf.
Rob Ains.
Yeah, so Carl 12.
12.
So you can check out the video about
Swedish people have such a great humor, and I think it says a lot about the Scandinavian culture that they have no problem with you making fun of them, and I think it means that they have a lot of like self-respect and self-esteem, and they don't care if you make fun of them, and that's great.
So we'll make fun of you a lot.
All the time.
Yeah, sorry.
At least 12
times. And you're gonna love it. Okay, so Macdaddy wants to know if he can make you jump. Daddy Mac will make you jump.
That's racist.
Sorry. So Macdaddy's real question is, if we were born hundreds of years ago, if would we believe in God / religion? he
Yeah,
asks.
we'll probably be religious like almost everyone today has a nation, so everyone back then had a religion.
Okay.
And
But
yeah,
about believing in God?
we'll probably believe in God because it makes sense, There is like when I want to make a pie, so I make the pie. So where that pie came from, she has like ingredients. Where that ingredients came from?
From God.
From the earth. Where the earth came from? From God.
That's the best explanation for the existence of God that I've ever heard. So Richard Dawkins, in your face. Another question from Steak Sandwich. Hi, Steak Sandwich. We like you, Steak Sandwich, though we don't eat steak sandwich. He wants to know, what does it say about Real Madrid coach Rafa Benitez that he is unable to field a proper number 10 when he has a team made up almost entirely of number 10s?
Okay, trigger warning. Talking about football.
Soccer,
sorry. How many number 10s does he have?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
He's not a number 10.
He can be a number 10.
He's not a number 10.
He can be a number 10.
He's not a number 10. You're delusional.
He can be a number 10.
He's not a number 10. You have James Rodriguez.
He cannot be a number 10.
James Rodriguez. Isco. Modric.
Modric can be a number 10.
I think Bale can be a number 10 as well.
Bale cannot be a number 10.
He already played as a number 10.
He cannot be a number 10 in this level. Sorry.
He can.
Maybe if he plays with us, like in the neighborhood.
No. He can and he was.
What do you think, people who like soccer, football, Real Madrid, whatever?
Anyway, his question is like...
what does it say about Rafa Benitez?
Benitez is a shit coach. And we were very happy when we heard he's coming to Real Madrid because we expected everything that happened now. We expected
But my brother is a Real Madrid fan, so actually, I don't know, I'm kind of split here. I want him to be a little bit happier than he is. I feel bad, like beating them all the time. Like the last 4-0, that was, I don't know. I was embarrassed, actually. I was embarrassed for you, Steak Sandwich. Okay, this one came by email from Tanzim Shoduri from Clifton, New Jersey. Hi, Tanzim. And Tanzim wants us to stop calling ISIS ISIS because there is Islamic there, and start calling them Daesh, which is what we call them actually in Israel.
Yeah.
Because they don't represent Islam. They're just, I don't know, fascists, right-wing extremists, fascists who happen to be Muslim, so they use the culture and the political tools that they have in their extreme right, which is radical jihadi Islam. So we'll try, actually, yeah. I think that's a fair thing to say. And actually, after I replied by email and I told him, sure, he said, this is so weird, like block letters. I'm talking to a celebrity. No, you are not. You are not talking to a celebrity. You're just talking to me. I was like wearing my underpants.
Yeah, it was. You thought you were talking to me, but it was Gil. So
You actually sent the email to my personal email address. So I'm the celebrity here, Itamar. There were a lot of comments, like in recent videos, about sound problems that we had. Do you remember that we had sound problems? I'm so happy that we don't have sound problems anymore.
what? Like yeah, like
Yeah, like wind, but we switched mics. So now, I think now somebody is listening with his headphones and like, ah!
worship Satan, worship Satan.
I think we'll cut all of that in editing. Okay. Sorry. Okay, now let's go to Claude Jarreau. He wants to know if Brienne of Tarth is a Ronin. Talk a little bit about Ronin. What is Ronin?
Ronin is like a masterless samurai.
Right.
Samurai played a similar role to the knights,
Right.
like lords, not lords, like noble people that swore allegiance to some lord or daimyo, like they call it. And when the certain lord had died and lost his property, usually it was with the same thing. Then the Ronin had no master to
samurais
the
didn't,
samurais,
right.
yeah, they had no master to swear allegiance to.
I
so
think
they
it changed like over the years. Like some years they could swear allegiance to another lord and avoid being Ronin, and in other times they could not.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of Ronin,
yeah, and you
which
have
was
this,
very dangerous
yeah,
because they are like I don't know, they became mercenaries.
yeah, and yeah.
So Brienne,
Brienne is not exactly a Ronin, but you can say, yeah, her master has
she
died.
switched masters like twice.
Yeah, and both of her masters died.
Right. And now
One of them was resurrected, but but yeah, it's a good point. Good point.
And now she has no master actually. Like
Yeah.
Jamie is the master. I don't know. No, I think like she has her own mission.
Yeah, and she's searching for a new. Yeah.
I think this is a great point. Kol hakavod, Claude Jarreau, and we're gonna mention that when we do a video about Brienne. Thanks. Skjoni, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. From Germany. Hi, Skjoni.
Cheers.
Cheers. And he or she, they have a question about the White Walkers. That they probably are not completely evil. We actually I have a video or two videos even about that. So can you elaborate a little bit? Why do you think that she's right that they are not completely evil?
Because there is no evil in this world that he created. Yeah, and so why assume that they are evil? You know, because we know he doesn't like this black and white
Right.
dichotomy.
And every time he does that, then he lets us like look over the fence and see the other, and then realize that he's not evil.
Yeah.
Like Jamie, the wildlings, whatever.
I think they want to mean humans harm, but they probably have
I think they're coming over to give us a hug.
No, they mean us harm, but they're probably it's because of the white colonialists that took their land. And,
That is actually planning to take their land.
No
actually.
matter what, it's white privilege fault.
But I think in this case, they are foreseeing white privilege and white colonialism, and this is why they are coming. Like
No.
actually in the story.
They have the white privilege.
Because they are white walkers?
Walkers, yeah.
Ukupacha wants to know if there's any resemblance in the story to Native Americans. And he says, or she, cheers from every place on earth. Cheers.
Yes, I think native people like indigenous
That's also racist.
indigenous people, like the first man, not the first man, like the people, the children of the forest. So they are more connected to nature and
Free folk.
and the free folk, yeah, and then comes like this more civilized culture.
So they're
take their land.
like North American Native Americans.
Yeah, South Americans and Central Americans, they had also that hunter-gatherers, small tribes, but they had like also established political units, empires, states,
Right.
social order and stuff like that. So I don't see that in the story necessarily, but the connection between like the more advanced technological society that comes and take the land, confronting on the way like the natives
and disturbing like their way of life, like their way of life is not compatible with the more modern
with
way
progress.
of life.
Yeah, there is this episode when Bewitched. You remember that series, Bewitched?
Like the three witches?
No, someone who marries a genie. So there is an episode that I remember that they are in Hawaii. And she makes, like, his wife, the witch, makes some magic or something like that and brings back King Kamehameha, one of the...
Kamehameha? Kame... Okay, whatever.
King Kamehameha, he was a king, like a Polynesian king.
Okay.
And one of the greatest kings of the area, and it meets him, and King Kamehameha like comes back to life in Hawaii in the 60s, 50s, and they say, hey, what about all these hotels? And he's like really mad, these hotels, and then the whole episode is JR trying to find King Kamehameha because he ran away. But his goal is not to find him and bring him back. His goal is to find him and teach him that progress is good.
Capitalism.
Progress. I want to teach you about progress. Progress.
Okay. Jaime Zahara Hal. That's an interesting comment because we talked about in the previous Q&A about John having to make a sacrifice if he's really a Zuahai, as a Zuahai had to make a sacrifice and kill his beloved Nissa Nissa. And she or he, they say that he has already made a sacrifice, Ygritte. I think that's very interesting.
But he didn't kill her.
No, but he lost her.
Yeah.
No, okay, I tell you what. His sacrifice was leaving her. That could be. That could be,
yeah.
Okay, Ultan Ganon. Ganon in Hebrew means like a kindergarten. Whatever. I'm sure you find that fascinating. Ultan says that Lazhareens sort of seem like they might be partially inspired by the ancient Jews after leaving Egypt, because they seem to be monotheistic. So who are the Lazhareens?
The Lazhareens in Essos, it's where Miri Mazdur was captured from our Lazhareen tribe. And they believe in one God, the Great Shepherd,
Okay.
I
don't.
And yeah, they're like pastoral nomads,
So why is that similar to ancient Jews?
Similar, to the biblical stories.
Why?
Like Abraham had this, Hamula, this small tribe. He was basically not he was a pastoral nomad. He had his stock, and he went from place to place.
So
and
it's
he believed
prior
in
the Exodus of Egypt.
Yeah, it's prior to it.
I remember. Yeah, he had a flock of sheep, whatever.
Yeah.
We have a great comment from Marwan El Hashimi, who loves the show. Hi, Marwan. He's from the UAE. This is so awesome that we can talk with our neighbors. We actually have a few dozens of subscribers from the region. For example, we have 62 subscribers from Saudi Arabia. Hey, where are you guys? In the comments. And 48 from UAE, and between 12 and 18 from Kuwait, Egypt, Algeria, and actually we have quite a few Muslim subscribers from Europe and the US, and maybe Canada, I think. So shout out to our Muslim viewers. So Marwan wants to know what we think about the theory that A Song of Ice and Fire is actually a science fiction world. That's actually, Preston Jacobs has like a whole series of videos where he thinks that this is actually science fiction and not a historical fantasy novel.
What, you mean with the aliens and stuff like that?
Yeah, like in the future, like this is the future, like the year is not 1,000, it's like 8,000, and aliens, and like all the superpowers, the fantasy powers are actually like advanced human and alien technology. I don't think so. I don't know. I think it also undermines our whole channel, so...
I don't know much about this theory.
I've watched a few of the videos.
You watched them?
Actually, I like Preston Jacobs' videos, but I wasn't convinced at all by these videos. But you can check them out, of course. Maybe you think otherwise, you can mention that in the comments.
Yeah, I like him also.
Last comment. This is the best comment I've ever read. Sorry, other people. Paul Hanley says, of all the other Game of Thrones theory channels out there, we guys are the only ones he would love to get high with. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the biggest compliment I've ever received from anyone. And if of all the commenters out there, you are the only one that we would like to get high with. Except you, and you also. You know who you are, but not you. No, we don't like you. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Okay, so you see on the left here, there's the button. Click it to subscribe to get our next videos, and check us out on Twitter and Facebook. We have cool stuff over there, not just Game of Thrones, other cool stuff. And if you want to help us make this channel sustainable, you can support us on Patreon. That would mean a lot, really, if you want to. Of course, the link is in the description, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.